We don't want to stop, right, Chuck?
Neck!
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hello, and welcome to the Loose Butthole Reviews. I am your host, Smokey, and joining with me, as always, is my co-host, Booge.
Hello.
And joining with us is our co-hosts, Murda, Starfish, and Tiny Dancer.
Happy Christmas! Happy Christmas!
Merry Christmas! First live for Christmas!
Happy Christmas!
Merry Christmas, Merry Xmas, and Happy Holidays, everybody. Before we get into the review proper, I got to give the 3 rules of our rating system. First rule is it must be a fraction of 5. 1 means we hate it. 5 means we love it. Rule number 2, if we want our money back, we give it a good old Jeff Goldblum. And rule number 3, if we all agree that it deserves a 6 out of 5, a God tier, then it will get a God tier. And today, we are reviewing Emmet Otter's Jug-Band Christmas.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about the...
Does anybody have the year? I do not have the year.
1977.
77. 70. What did I say?
What a great year it was.
Pre the Muppet movie.
Yep.
Nice.
And
nice.
it's
And
based
this
on a
is
children's book of the same name.
This is our
I didn't know there was a kid's book.
This is our like Christmas holiday special review. So we decided
bonus.
Yeah, it's bonus and we're doing it live. So if you tune in to it live, congratulations. But if you're listening
Forget
to it
about it. We're doing it live.
So all those losers alone on Christmas. We can be your friends.
We could be your
Your
friends.
parasocial friends.
Hey, everybody
Christmas.
needs a healthy parasocial relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
I do feel like this movie is a good movie to watch on Christmas. It's not like overly like sappy and like it's not overly, you know what I'm saying, like
two
You gotta
Christmas.
be prepared. Y'all did not prepare me for this movie at all.
All
right,
Y'all-
It is pretty.
I'd like
So-
to know. Okay, I'd like to know, Smokey, your first initial thoughts because this is a staple in our household. So we knew what we were
watch
getting
it every
into.
year.
We
So
watch it all the time.
this was my very first time ever watching this one. I've never seen this one, and for the first I gotta say, 35 minutes, I was like, man, they're really killing my vibe, kinda, because they're
It's a sad movie. It's
I
got
mean,
a
they're
lot
not
of-
intentionally saying, "Oh, you should be sad," but just definitely the atmosphere they're building is very a somber kind of atmosphere.
Well-
It's definitely
they
a
have-
this
homely
movie-
atmosphere they're trying to build.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this
they have
movie
to.
is inspired by The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry. It was written as a part of some short stories he wrote in 1905, I believe. And that story in general has a pretty somber, sad vibe to it. Every depiction of that story that we see around Christmas has that. It's sad. I mean, we're talking about poor people.
I guess I'm just more
Yeah.
used
Can't
to
afford-
modern. I'm used to more modern day. It's more Hallmark shopping card,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, with high middle class
This
Christmas.
one's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's more real and
This is
about it.
that old humor.
Yeah.
Not humor, but the old.
Yeah, that's
It
what I
does-
liked about this movie. Like the stakes weren't crazy like you see in a lot of holiday movies, like things you could never relate to, and they just force you to care about it.
I don't know. I think
this
the
movie doesn't
stakes
do that.
were. I think the stakes were pretty large because if
No,
they
I'm not saying
messed
the
up-
stakes weren't large. I'm saying they're real. They're not okay. So we
Yeah,
watched
gotcha.
relatable
I
movie.
like we watched the
Very
Santa Claus
relatable.
earlier, and that shit's not gonna happen. Like your dad's not gonna turn into Santa Claus and all this crazy shit. We watched Jingle All the Way, where Sinbad's bombing the postal office
This is
or
some real
something
shit.
like.
Emmet Otter is
Yeah.
some real
And it
shit.
was but Emmet Otter's realistic.
Yeah.
They are high stakes, but they're realistic. They don't force you into these wild scenarios that you just what the fuck, this wouldn't happen.
Yeah, the only fantasy
this
part of
this
this
shit's
is that
real.
they're animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, I will say too, without the like setup that you get within the first 20 minutes, like the meaning of the film would be lost because like, we find well, I mean, we could jump into the plot if we want to, but
Go for
like,
it.
all right. So we join Kermit the Frog, and Kermit is on his way
Who
When
to.
I
was
do
this
gotta
scene?
say,
This scene was added.
that's what I was about to say. In the 19th, so this film is from 1977, and Kermit, I don't think, was a part of the original release. Kermit was added later in 2001 for its DVD release.
Oh,
When
okay.
So
obviously Kermit was,
not even a
That
Jim
Kermit was from
Henson Kermit.
2001.
that's what I could find. Kermit
Pretty
wasn't
good
like,
Kermit though.
Kermit was a thing. The Muppet Show had aired like a year before this movie, but like the Kermit as we know him was not like the popular character he was
Which
Yeah,
until the
I
Muppet movie.
I
right.
do find it to be a little bit a shame that they believe that they had to shoehorn him into this just to market it in
It's
modern
modern
day.
marketing.
Because like to be honest, I kind of because of that marketing tactic, I kind of didn't it. I love the movie. It didn't affect my rating or anything. But if I was just seeking this out on my own, I'd be like, well, if they're just gonna like be adding scenes in of Kermit that's not even related to the original, like I'm not even gonna try to seek this out because I'm not here for
Well, I mean
Kermit.
that's
I want
It was made
I
for
sure, and
TV.
that's your
I mean,
take on it. But
the
like, I guess the way I look at it is like, Kermit, like me watching this for the first time, like 5, 6 years ago. When I first started dating Murda and stuff, like, you know, seeing Kermit on there is like, oh, this is a Henson flick, just like right off the back, or right off the bat. And so like, I think like there is like a weight that Kermit holds, with later generations and stuff. Um, but I guess that's just my personal take on it. Like, I don't really care that they added him or
this was
didn't
also
add
like
him.
one of their very first films, right? Like very.
I
It
don't know if
was
it's counted as a film because it's not feature length.
okay, like TV. Well,
Yeah,
that length
it's
of a
considered a
production.
special.
yeah,
Okay, so
Yeah.
this was like very early Jim Henson. So
yeah. This
by
is
the
very
time,
Yeah.
early.
so people don't, they might not even recognize that's Jim Henson fully. Like it didn't have the exposure, I guess, because it was a special. It released in the 70s,
Yeah, I
and
truly
they did play it like years
I
following and
I don't
stuff.
know.
But
Just
I think they needed Kermit. I mean, I get it. They put Kermit
I
in
don't
there
know
for.
how
I
popular this was like at all
I don't
when it
think
but
came
it
out.
even
was.
after watching the movie, I think this movie could sell. I think this whole even if it's not a IP that they continued, I believe this whole thing could just sell itself without being attached to the
Well,
Muppets.
Oh, I agree.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we
Definitely
don't
agree.
have any news or updates on this, but in 2019, it was announced that that a film remake of Emmett Otter's Jug-Band Christmas was going to be in the works, directed by Brett McKenzie
From Flight of the
from Flight of the
Concord.
Conchords.
I
So
think
I think they
I think
want to
it's got
work
a
on
cult.
that.
This movie's got a cult following, or the
Hmm.
special has a cult following, but I don't know how popular it
But when
actually
I
What
is.
could
about
see it
Jermaine?
releasing back on DVD and them adding Kermit to like introduce it. That makes sense to me.
Well,
It's
you
like
mentioned Brett. What about
pulling
Jermaine?
the um
Sorry, Jermaine's not a part of this.
they're pulling it from their
Oh,
catalogs. I could see you get a DVD of Kermit introducing you to the good old classic Emmett Otter.
yeah. And so
It makes sense to me.
Kermit's on his classic bicycle move, Kermit, which is great to watch if you've never seen Kermit on a bicycle before. It is superb, um, in many
Those
ways.
legs.
Yep, he's got some legs. He is a
Got
frog.
gams.
Yeah, yeah, he does. He got the gams, and he's on his way to Frog Hollow, where Emmett Otter and his ma live. And as he's getting there, he sees a sign. He goes, "Oh, somebody's coming!" And it's the River Bottom Gang.
And
And
they're
this is
mean.
Yeah, they're the mean Muppets.
Would
And
anybody with their
Fucking mug 'em.
impromptu research know if this is based on an actual outlaw gang or anything like that?
I
no,
don't
I
think
I mean,
so.
I
doubt it,
think
dude.
it was the '70s
think
rock
it's just
and
hooligans.
roll. Yeah,
I mean,
hooligans.
it's very
Maybe.
that's Looney Tunes based a lot of their stuff out of actual outlaws and stuff, so I
The
wouldn't be
the
surprised
closest
if
I could
there's.
think is like maybe the MC5, but I mean it's because they dealt drugs and they had
Oh,
guns.
do
I
you
didn't
think they?
see
Do you
any
think
of
that
that
they
shit
were?
with NC5.
Do you think that these guys were dealing drugs?
I mean, must have been. That's
I mean,
the only
they're definitely
criminal band I
wealthy.
could think of at the
It,
time.
I don't know if
Is-
like River Bottom is wealthy because like they have the whole sound production set up and everything. They got
Uh,
snowmobiles.
I think
yeah, they
the
got a
'70s was
car.
full of.
They got money.
but like,
The
I
Angels were
just
pretty big in the
I
it
just know
'70s
doesn't
that
because they had a
they
lot
necessarily
of
have to be a
riots, so there
band.
was a
It
lot of
doesn't
imagery
necessarily have to
based
be
off
a
of that.
band, but like, is there like an outlaw gang or something?
No, I know what
Well,
you're saying, but
that's what I was saying. Like in the '70s, there was a lot of the like Hell's Angels. They were in the news a lot in that time for being outlaws, obviously, and
Oh yeah.
and so like there was just a lot of that culture blended in with the rock and roll.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
it was
The,
as loosely based on just gangs.
from typing in from looking up, is the River Bottom Nightmare Band based off of anyone? There is an article published December 22nd of 2021 by Julia Gaskill for the Tough Pigs website, which is a Miss Piggy fan club from the looks of it.
wait, does that
Uh,
answer the question?
I'm gonna read some of it just because
Okay, let us
I
know.
just think it's great. So Julia
Intriguing.
says, and I quote, "My final notice that the River Bottom Gang are truly victims of toxic masculinity. For those who don't know, toxic masculinity is a set way that men are expected to behave, and this in return has a negative impact on men and on all of society. Often boys are raised on gendered expectations that they have to act a certain way in order to make themselves big, in order to be seen as men. Not all boys have Emmett's life, where he has a loving relationship with his mother that helps guide him towards becoming vulnerable,
Alright.
a sensitive person, or Otter. Toxic masculinity holds on to young boys and tells them that being macho, being rude, being callous is what's important. It is what gets you what you want. The River Bottom boys are stuck in a vicious loop where they hurt others around them, they act
Okay.
out,
I
others
don't think.
move
Yeah.
out of the way, and they intimidate others. They
They're
intimidate,
bullies.
and
So I
others
think
are
in short,
fearful.
no,
No,
they're
no.
not based off of
They're
anybody in
greasers.
specific.
No, they're not.
No.
They're just
No, they're
They're
not.
hooligans.
Mhm.
hooligans.
The
Yeah.
bullies.
Yeah. The only,
And and
In
we get
yeah.
Stephen
taste.
King land, they would be greasers.
Yeah, they're the
Yeah, oh
greasers.
yeah,
Mhm.
they'd super be greasers in Stephen King land.
And some
Um,
grease.
Gotcha.
and so they
Yeah.
proceed to grease all over Kermit. They roll up on him. We don't meet all of them, but I'm gonna give you all their names real quick. Their leader is named Chuck Stowett,
He's a
um,
bear.
and
Yeah,
he is a
he's a bear.
bear. There's Fred Lizard.
He's a lizard.
Yep. There's Howard Snake.
Snake.
He's a turtle.
There's
No.
Pop.
Snake.
My
There's
favorite.
Pop-eyed the catfish,
Yeah.
Nice.
and Stanley Weasel. They all insult
Stanley.
him, and then they steal his scarf, and they drive off
It's the
with it.
cutest thing ever. You can see the little string pulling the scarf.
Yeah, it's
I
I
great.
love
like
it.
I like how Chuck's the only one that has a last name that isn't what he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. Nope. So the stout is actually an animal. Give me 1 second.
Oh,
This,
Uh,
Oh,
wait, what?
I might be
is
pronouncing
that
it
a
wrong.
name of
he's a
Stoat?
he's a scout.
Yeah, a
He's a
stoat.
stoat.
A
A stoat?
stoat.
He's not a bear?
No, he's a stoat. So the stoat,
I
also
mean, I
known
guess
as the
the
Eurasian.
size difference wouldn't make sense if he was a bear, but I always thought he was a bear.
Yeah, same.
I thought
These
they called
stoats
him
are
Because
a
he looks
bear.
like a
small.
bear.
Stoats are
Stoats are
very
Stoats.
little,
small.
yeah, stoats are little weasels.
Stoats were
Oh.
introduced into New Zealand in the late 19th century to control rabbits. So it's another
Let's
type of
see.
polecat,
Oh
essentially.
wait, yeah.
I mean, aren't they
He
all
is
Uh,
supposed
not
to be
as.
little? Aren't they all supposed to be
That's-
little creatures though?
That's just what it says. It just
Yeah,
says
I mean,
Chuck
they're
Stoat.
like all little creatures. I always thought he was a bear. This is like blowing
Yeah,
my
this is
mind.
kind of blowing my mind too.
Because I mean, like
Yeah.
he'd be small for a bear, but he's still like
Could be a black bear.
Fozzie bear like size. Like Fozzie's about that
Yeah, like
size. He's a
Fozzie and
bear.
Kermit like is not like bear and frog size difference. So I guess I
He's like
never really
slightly
thought
taller.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say with
He's
Muppets.
okay if he
He's
is
a Stoat gang leader.
if he's a stoat, he's
his
definitely
his size
um,
comparisons.
he's definitely modeled after a bear, not a stoat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does not look
Yeah.
anything like a stoat.
Yeah, he
Because there
definitely
are
is
some like
a bear.
weaselly, stoaty little things in this movie, and
Yeah, there's a
Mhm.
lot of them, actually.
he just straight up looks like a bear.
Yeah, he acts like a bear too. Like when he's like, "I'm hungry."
Yeah.
Well, shit, blew my
I
mind.
feel like
Dude,
something
like
went
my
wrong
mom-
in the production, and they're like made a bear, but he's like, no, that was supposed to be a
Just a
stoat.
tiny bear.
yeah.
Really got a
Um,
bear.
Maybe
So they,
one
they
of the
steal.
maybe one of the little guys that look more stoaty was supposed to be Chuck, but there's like this guy doesn't look like he's not terrifying enough.
He's not like
Let's-
he doesn't look like a gang leader.
Yeah,
No.
let's do something.
Yeah, they
Let's
put the
make him
jacket
look
on
like
the
a
bear,
bear,
and they're like,
yeah.
that looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could
That
see
blew my
that.
mind.
So they steal Kermit's scarf, and then we pan up and out, and we get to see the community of Frogtown Hollow. And it
It's
is
so quaint.
idyllic, to say the least. It's a beautiful winter scene. There's snow all over the ground, all over the tiny trees. And this being, filmed in 1977, and of course, coming from Jim Henson, this is all like real little sets that they made for all of this puppets and stuff, and it's great. It's heartwarming and fun. Um, very Christmas feels just based off of the way that it looks.
It feels so much like the Appalachian winter. So I think
Yeah.
they did a
I
great
don't know if
job.
it explicitly says like where this is set, but this seems like 1977, like Appalachia, like poor, very poor people, like with the mountain
To
scenery.
be honest, this seemed like it was taking place during the Great Depression.
Mhm.
Well, there
Like
is
West
an
Virginia.
electric rock and roll.
Yeah,
band,
they
so
do
it's
got
more-
electric guitars.
everything
True, that
except for
I mean
that
that is
feels like
true.
the
I just the poor,
more early
even
1900s.
even the rich seemed like they were on hard times. It's just
I mean, I
they're-
can see
Yeah,
this being, like
they're-
70s, like
literally not
poverty.
paying their the person that did
Like,
their laundry.
people are still.
I mean, their whole little outfits and everything definitely.
People are
more of a
still
turn
like
of the century.
sewing their own clothes and doing stuff like that.
Yeah. And
I did look
we
up some of the like inflation from like of the like sums of money they're talking about in this movie too. Like the guitar that Emmett wants is like
Yeah.
$40, and that's like
$500.
no, it's like $200 now.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, inflation sucks. It's real. And we all got to deal with the consequences of it. It's great.
So I
but,
think it's meant to be set in the time that it's filmed.
in,
like,
in
or
I mean, they
released.
definitely
1977.
have
77.
the feel
Yeah.
is like the late or early 1900s is the costuming and everything definitely has that vibe.
Oh, but you've seen that stuff at thrift stores, like Ma's
yeah.
like blue dress.
It was very big.
That's
in
just
the
from like the
70s.
70s and 80s.
It was
like-
definitely big in the 70s.
I can go
so-
find that dress at a Goodwill, and it's gonna be from
it
like the
just- it kinda-
70s, 80s.
She'll find it too. I've seen it.
I mean, they do have snowmobiles, and the car that they're driving isn't like really old timey. I understand.
Yeah, and
I don't know the atmosphere that they set for me at least. was
It's
definitely
kind of a
like-
mix. It's got a little.
To
mix.
me, it was just Appalachian poverty,
But
like
may-
in
Yeah,
the
some
70s.
of those
maybe-
towns are like stuck in the like 40s, and they're
Yep.
Maybe the
I guess
problem
like when
was-
you drive you drive through the hills of Tennessee and shit, so it looks like that. You're like, yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe the
I mean, it
problem
does
was
still
like
look-
just the film in general, even at this point in time, was kind of bumming
But I
me
mean,
out.
Jim Henson has been known to do that. You know, the turn of the century kind of.
Well, we haven't
Stop.
really started the film yet because we just got introduced by Kermit. But after that,
I mean, he
we
got robbed, dude.
Zoo-
I'm not supposed to be bummed out about Kermit being robbed.
You know
I mean,
Kermit's gonna be
Kermit-
fine.
yeah,
No,
dude,
Yeah,
Kermit's
he's
he's
gonna be
rich as
He's
fine.
fuck.
he's Kermit the Frog. You think he cares about a scarf? He probably
Yeah,
he
you got a bunch.
probably eats scarves
I
like
don't know. I
that
think
for
we're in a
free.
bad neighborhood if we robbing Kermit the Frog.
Well, I mean,
Just stay
They're
in the
gonna
swamp.
rob the rich guy.
yeah, I mean, we don't really actually know what River Bottom is or what happens at River Bottom.
Yeah, we don't ever visit
I'm
River
assuming
Bottom.
it's like worse than Frogtown Hollow is in terms of community, but we
I don't
don't
know.
really
These
know.
these guys seem
that would
like they
be
got money though.
profiling, Starfish. That would be profiling.
I mean,
Ooh.
based off of them actively committing a crime,
Maybe
and then
that's
me
where
saying that the
Frog
neighborhood that they're
Hollow
Oh,
from
that sounded like they
probably
were.
isn't
I
that
don't
good.
Oh,
trust them city folk.
shits in that to the chat.
because the person from the city is misbehaving. The city's
I think
gotta
they're
be garbage.
rolling through because
It's
they're
true.
rolling through Frog Hollow to sell drugs. They got
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
fair.
drug money.
Now they're going to go complete the deal with Boss Frog because Boss Frog is obviously a river pirate. That's how he got his
It's
fortune.
Doc Bullfrog.
Doc Bullfrog, yeah. Boss
Well,
Frog.
he's such a bear. Look at those-
Oh yeah,
But
he's
yeah,
a bear.
so we join Ma and Emmett, um, and they are going down the river to do their job that they do, and they wash laundry
Oh,
for other
look at that.
people. And as they're going along, they're singing a song, and the song is about your grandma Otter's bikini, right, or swimsuit,
Her
maybe.
swimsuit and how much
Grandma's-
material they had. and
Grandma's
how big
fat.
She's fat. That they made like all these assortments of things.
Yeah.
From which otters don't need swimsuits. So were they making it all out of her pelt?
I mean, yes, I
selling
guess. Yeah,
Is this accepted in the animal world? You can sell your ancestors' skins.
Yeah.
Otters are pretty
So-
vicious. I mean,
yeah,
Otters are
they're-
pretty
they're-
nasty.
They're mean.
I
They're
mean,
very
if we're
cute,
really,
but they're rough.
we can't. We shouldn't get into the true nature of otters. It's gonna
We
upset.
yeah, I'm not going to
everyone.
get into the
No,
poll
we'll
now.
just make everyone else sad.
So as we talk about the music, I think we should just talk about production too, guys. Don't you think?
Sure.
Okay.
for
Obviously, like most of Jim Henson's work, or a lot of it, all of the songs in this movie were written by Paul Williams.
Hmm.
Who's done?
I love Paul Williams.
Yeah, what else has he done?
Well, he did Rainbow Connection. He did all from the Muppet
Yeah.
movie.
Remember when
Nice,
he was in that episode of Dexter's Laboratory? Do y'all
Oh.
remember that?
I do.
Uh,
I always do.
No.
As himself, pretty much.
I also remember when he's Penguin in the Batman animated series.
And then
Oh, I
he's got
do.
that. He's got that weird, like, sexy movie where he's like the sexy man.
What?
Oh.
But we haven't watched that one yet.
The weird sexy movie. Let's see.
Like
can't
it's like an
see that
erotic
with him.
thriller. We watched the trailer before, and we said we have to do the movie.
He also did Three Dogs Nights. He wrote one of their songs, An Old Fashioned Love Story.
He's basically a songwriter.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find
Cool.
what that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could keep talking, Starfish. I'm gonna
Yeah.
find what the sexy Paul Williams
Alright.
movie is.
So they singing a song about Grandma Otter's swimsuit and how they used it to make curtains and drapes and sheets and scarves and pants and all kinds of stuff, and it's just great. And as they're going down the river, they pass a guy fishing, and he's hasn't gotten any bites yet. They keep going down the river, and they stop at a dock.
We're
and
talking
there
about
they meet
Windler,
Mrs.
right?
Fox.
It was Windler, right?
Wendell.
Yep, that's
Wendell.
Wendell.
Wendell. You can't
Yep,
trust
that's
Wendell. You can't
I just
trust
want to
Wendell.
say,
He's
a
a
swindler.
porcupine.
Windler.
He's a swindler.
Adolf Windler.
I just want to go
Stop.
back to what's his name, Paul Williams.
Paul Williams.
No, it's just Wendell.
Wrote a couple of tunes on Random Access Memories by Daft Punk.
Well,
He
shit.
co-wrote and sang vocals on
Ooh.
Touch,
Sick.
Oh.
I Remember Touch, and co-wrote Beyond.
Nice.
I just thought
Also,
that was pretty neat.
the sexy movie I'm thinking of is called Phantom of the Paradise.
Oh,
I'll send you guys the
Yes.
I'll send you guys the trailer after.
That is some title. Oh yeah, I definitely remember this episode. I remember that character at least.
You remember that guy?
Yeah, but I didn't watch a whole lot of Dexter.
Yeah, he's Dexter's piano
I do
teacher.
remember.
And we find out from Mrs. Fox that she's not happy with Ma and Emmett's work. She sent in her sheets, and it came back with a burn with a char mark on it, I guess. And so she is going to not pay them this time. She's going to pay them next week and deduct the damages from her sheets from their pay. And we find out from Ma that Christmas is only 3 days away, and they're not going to get paid
They're poor as
doing
fuck.
for doing this work.
And Ma,
and-
did we mention that Pa is dead?
Nope, because they haven't mentioned it yet. But
Oh,
Pa
okay.
is dead.
There's no Pa. There's just Ma and Emmett.
Yep. And
Pa used
It's,
to be a snake
you know-
oil salesman. Sorry. Just thought
no,
I'd
go
tell
for
you.
it.
Oh man, I was gonna make a joke, but I'm gonna let it slide. I'm gonna let it slide.
What?
Uh,
Is it about penises?
Is it about
No.
snake oils?
No, if
Is it about a
Sure.
Hard to
fox?
oil them snakes. Nobody wants to oil them snakes. no
God
more.
damn it.
Yeah, oil
What
on
did
the
she say?
snakes. It's just slapping it
If-
dry.
if they were goddamn okay, all right, y'all forced my hand. If they were
Make the
If-
joke.
if they were real otters, Ma wouldn't be around.
Yeah, it's true.
Sure.
Because they like ate her.
Let's just move
Sometimes
on.
they
Let's
Yeah.
just move on. If you
It's
don't
just a really rough
understand-
mating ritual. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't all die though, because
Well,
No, they
obviously
don't.
No,
don't.
no,
The moms have
they
to
don't,
protect the
but
babies.
Yeah.
it's-
They're still
like
mammals.
if the mom dies, the baby's gonna die. So
I
Yeah,
just know
luckily,
otter,
like-
when it comes, God dang when it comes to otters is like up there with like one of the most violent of mating
Yeah.
rituals.
Oh,
Terrible.
they're kinda
They are
like
tough, though.
ducks.
They are tough.
Ducks, yeah.
Like
Oh,
the ladies are
well.
tough, at the very least.
But yeah, so they find that out, and then they're going back, and as they're going back, they see a Mr. Possum, I believe, that says that they'll trade him some pumpkins for some socks. And
Yeah, she's like, I can make some pumpkin pies and sell them for a profit. For those
Yeah.
pumpkins. For those pumpkins.
Buy fabric
Yeah.
to get the socks. Make
yep,
more
buy
socks.
fabric to make
Uh-huh.
more socks, and then you can get more pumpkins to make more pies.
They on
and-
that hustle. Mom and
then-
Otter are on the hustle.
Yeah, pretty much. They're doing anything they can to scrape by, really. We find out that, Pa passed away a while ago. And as they're drifting down the river, they sing perhaps the best ever Christmas banger from a movie. And it is There's No Hole in the Wash Tub.
Ain't no
hole in the wash tub.
And I do believe does Murda and Tiny Dancer have that ready to
No.
go?
No,
We
No,
don't.
okay,
We
all
don't.
right.
have other words.
all right.
I
We'll
don't know
come-
the words very well to watch. I'm looking them up right now. Let's see.
So I will say this whole soundtrack is on Spotify, and yes, I do listen to it around Christmas time.
That's great. Every song in this movie is a banger.
Yeah, and so basically the the loop and the message of No Hole in the Wash Tub is that you got to work really hard. You're probably not going to make much money. Everything in life is very difficult and demanding of
Yeah,
you.
everything's kind of shit, but
but
at least there's no
there's no hole in the wash tub, so
So
you
you
can
can
keep
still
on
wash
you can
clothes and
keep
make
on
money.
doing work. Yep, you
Kind
can
of
still
like keeping on the sunny
Yeah,
side.
you at
always on the
least
sunny
Yeah.
side.
at
Yeah.
least you can keep slaving away. At least that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least you
Well-
can make $1 because your wash tub doesn't have a hole.
And that's
in
what I'm
it.
saying. Isn't this movie realistic?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. And I think
Can I just establish that we have not once raised my spirits yet in this movie?
Hey, this is how kids learn.
I mean, it's kind
Learn
of
about
sad.
life.
It's
Yeah.
but
It's
there's
gotta be
always
rough.
a,
I
like,
think
a
it's
happy-
uplifting at
There's
the
an
end.
uplifting. It is at the end, and
We're not at
just
the end though.
the songs, you know, the songs
And I do
give it
The
more
songs
like
and like their attitude
their attitude
throughout
right.
the whole film, like, you know, they're not gonna give up.
not
they're never
gonna
gonna
give
give up.
because there ain't no
Dude,
hole in the wash
I hate to
tub.
say it, the songs are the Foster the People pumped up kicks. Like, yeah, like it's a very pumpy, great song, but if you actually listen to the lyrics, it's like, oh.
Hey, that's
It's
part of
real.
that's honestly part of the reason I love this movie.
This is the real.
Yeah,
real
and I
world
mean,
thing.
I think
I'm
I
not
think
being
something
spoon-
that you
I am not being spoon-fed Christmas cheer in this movie.
Yeah, and I think something that maybe you're missing too, Smokey, is just that, like, at the end of the day, before like the
I'm-
good stuff actually does happen to them, the whole point of like most of the songs that they're singing is like, hey, life may suck and it may be hard, but like at least we have community, at least we have our family, at least we have, some type of way to, better ourselves or like survive.
Yeah, no,
I
I
think-
understand. I get that.
It,
It's
it
just
does
I'm
have
trying
a
to
somber
hammer.
vibe. This movie
I'm
does
just
have,
trying to
it's very
hammer
somber.
home. Y'all did not prepare me at all. Y'all didn't warn me.
It's true.
At all.
I
You
mean,
should've
I didn't
just-
want to.
We didn't
I didn't
wanna
want to
do
give
it.
you any
I-
preconceived
That's
notion
why
about
this
this
one's
movie.
so good because it's different.
Well,
It
see,
just-
the thing is that like
it's-
we watched a
when it-
movie recently where you found out something beforehand and then you Jeff Goldblumed it. So I don't think we want to like give you information about stuff now.
Especially
find
movies.
out beforehand.
especially
that
movies
was
that we
before the
like.
Yeah, you
review.
did. You
Yeah.
yeah, you did. You
I
did.
didn't find. I did not find that.
You
out
did before the review.
Before, yeah, but not before I watched it. That's a completely different story. It's
Oh, okay.
completely different.
Well, we didn't want
It's
to
completely
ruin it for
different.
you. We didn't wanna
Okay.
ruin it.
Preparing
Hey, you know,
for,
we all
a
saw
movie-
this movie the first time like 6
Warning
years ago
me-
or so, and we all went in blind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true,
and it
true.
Was sad.
I'm just-
I cried.
warning me about a movie's atmosphere is completely different than saying, "Hey,
No,
this,
I don't want. I don't
this
want you to have
special
any
was supposed
preconceived
to be."
notions.
All right.
But yeah,
Yeah,
so they
you
get back
didn't
home.
have to warn. You could have just been like, "This ain't your average Christmas." I thought this was gonna just be your
We didn't want to ruin
run
it.
of the mill, homely.
Well, let's
Christmas
let's break
movie.
that down.
You
Let's
could've
break
been
that
like,
down.
"Nah,
What?
it's
Let's break
That's
that
your
down. What?
assumption.
Let's
You
break
know what
this
that
down.
does?
Let's
Well, we
break
had
this
to-
down.
we had
What's
to
an
do a
average
unique-
Christmas film?
We had to do a unique Christmas movie because we ain't trying to just do that, like, boring ass bullshit on the show
Yeah,
for
I got
Christmas.
you,
We
I
ain't
got
watching,
it. I just, it,
whatever. The Santa Claus we watched that today was dumb.
I could have used a heads up, just a little
Well,
buffer.
Sorry, we didn't know it was gonna be quite impactful on this.
But that's good though because that means
Mhm.
the movie actually spoke to you.
Yeah.
If it's this bothering, I mean that means
We-
that you
I
felt
think-
it.
I think both me and Tiny Dancer have cried during this movie
Oh,
in
you-
previous, not this time around, but in
I was
previous applications of this
I was
movie.
literally gonna say that this might be the first time I watched it that I didn't cry.
I definitely could feel that it was trying to make me cry, and that's the point that I'm trying.
I don't
to
know
hammer
that it
home.
was though. I don't see it as like too ham-fisted with the sadness either. It's just like very realistic.
I mean, I
It's
cried
it,
every time I hear Rainbow
exactly.
Connection. So.
They make it realistic so you can relate to it, trying to get up all in your
Which-
feelings.
Which I like because it's not like, I don't know, there's a difference between realistic and it's sad and just like ham-fisted, like, please cry for these characters. Oh, doesn't that
And
make you feel
And I'm
bad?
not
Like,
saying
I didn't
that-
feel that from this movie.
I'm not saying
It's
that I
just the
wanted
story.
this
I mean,
movie.
the Gift of the Magi is sad.
Not trying to say I wanted this movie or was expecting this movie to be all full of Christmas cheer. I'm just trying to hammer home the point how different of a Christmas movie this really is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. That's why we chose
Yeah.
it too.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely.
So where are we at now?
Oh, so they get back home after singing their song and stuff. And they pass Wendell again. He found a boot in the river. Didn't find any fish. Um, and they get back home. They settle in for the night. It's the next day. Um, Emmett gets dressed, heads outside, and it is super cold out. He's like, "Oh, Mom's gonna need a lot of wood to keep the fire going and stuff." So he starts gathering wood. As he's doing that, he finds out that there is some work that Wendell found for them. Wendell could make 50 cents if he repairs Miss Opossum's fence. But he doesn't have any tools. So they agree that if they use Pa's old tools to fix the fence, that they can split the money. They can each get a quarter. And he runs home to tell his mom about it.
Wait a minute. Whoa. You're telling me they haven't been using the tools this whole time?
No, they use them. It's
Okay,
he wasn't offered the job. Wendell was
I
offered the job.
I just
Yeah,
just
Emmett goes
making
around
sure-
and uses tools for his toolbox or his
Good.
late father's
I-
toolbox for odd jobs.
Just
Yeah,
making sure
consistent.
that
But
they
Wendell-
wasn't like dusting, like if I missed like a short scene of them like dusting off the.
No, they ain't dusting
I'd
it
be-
off. This is
I'd be a little upset.
this gets
at them.
used all the time.
Okay, good.
It gets
good,
used
good.
all the time, but
That's why it's so important.
but Wendell locked down this job and he doesn't have a toolbox. Emmett's got the toolbox.
Yep. So
See, that's
So
what I
now
don't-
Emmett should have been paid a
Oh,
little
yeah.
more.
Yeah.
I'm calling it. See, you cannot trust Wendell. Little motherfucker doesn't have a toolbox,
I
and
think-
yet
But here's
gonna,
the thing.
gonna
with
promise
Wendell.
to fix your fence. Gonna be like,
Here's
hey,
the
yo,
thing.
I can fix your fence all day long, and no, he doesn't have the fucking tools to do it.
But he
I
knew.
bet,
He knew
I bet
Emmett
he took
did.
money up front. I bet he took money up
I
front.
don't know.
Bet he was
I think-
like, hey, give me
you can't-
$5.
why are
Wendell's a
you
little
why are
slow.
you villainizing Wendell so much, dude? Is it
Wendell
because
can't
he's a
even
porcupine? Like I
He
don't
can't even
understand why you
count.
hate
I think
him.
Wendell's got a learning
Porcupine
disability.
prejudice.
Yeah, Wendell definitely does. And the thing with Emmett could have taken so much advantage of Wendell. And like he rightfully should have gotten like 2/3 of that 50 cents. Like, but
I think half is
and he
fair.
definitely
Half is fair
could've-
with friends.
he could have. All I'm saying is he could have taken because Wendell cannot count. And
Wendell's
had
cool.
trouble with having-
Wendell's cool
Was
with being
Wendell
paid to mash
helping with the
potatoes.
fence?
We just like mashed
Was Wendell
potatoes.
helping with the fence? I don't
Yes, he
remember
helped
seeing-
with it.
I don't
Yes, he
remember
did.
seeing- I
He
remember
He was
also
seeing
actively
Emmett.
holding the fence for him, dude. I don't understand why you're villainizing Wendell
I
so
don't-
much.
Yeah,
Stop.
you don't want Wendell
This
to
is
swing
not
the
a
hammer.
point. This is not a point to have. Like this is nothing. Like stop with the Wendell hate. He's a good porcupine.
I'm not
He's-
stuck
he's
with
just- he's
you.
got issues, man.
I'm not. I don't trust him. He is shifty. He is
Wendell-
shady. He's shady.
No,
like
Wendell-
Mr. Frog
He's
and
just
Mr.
not
Fox.
bright,
innocent.
dude.
He's
I don't
just not
understand
fair.
you.
Wendell had to drop out of school because he was needed for work. Like,
He had to go. God.
yeah. His
Yeah.
family needed him for work, and so they took him right out of the third grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much. But anyways, Emmett's really excited about having this job to share with Wendell. And rushes
gonna make a
back
little money.
home. On the way, he runs into Hetty the muskrat, and she's coming to see if Ma's home. Ma is home, so they let her in, and they find out that Ma has been using her spinning wheel. There's her spinning Hetty's spinning wheel just like is at Ma's house. So it's probably a thing of like, oh well, can I just borrow it this week so I can make these socks for this guy or whatever? And it just never gets returned because like Ma is constantly, making
Yeah,
clothes for people.
Hetty's got some like snide comments, but they're warranted.
Yeah, they are. I mean, she's just being real with her, which is another like thing of this film is like even though these are animal creatures, like these are very real characters.
And I could see a little bit of annoyance of the fact that she also has like been been endlessly lending her
Yeah, she's
her
always
little
using her
sewing
shit.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's
Mom's
like,
always
oh,
gotta use
you're
her
gonna
shit.
you're gonna gamble and like sell your son's things to for this kind of gamble. That's a
Yeah.
good idea.
Yeah, and
No,
so
Hetty's real.
and so we find out through both Hetty um, as well as the friends of
Emmett and
Wendell
Wendell.
and Emmett.
I don't remember
The
their names.
friends are Charlie and something else, but I cannot remember the other
The
one.
other parts of the Jug-Band.
Yep. Yancey maybe.
No, that's Yancey was a different one.
Okay. Will.
Maybe. I don't think it's important.
Anyways, we find out that there's a Christmas talent show going on, and the winner of which could get $50. And previously,
$50.
um, they let's see here. Sorry. Previously they walked around town, and Emmett saw a guitar that he really wanted. We know that Ma had a piano that they had to sell in order to make ends meet, which is like super sad, again with the sadness here. But if they if they win the talent show, they can earn $50, and both of them think that it's that's a lot of money for them, and so that they want to do it, and they they reconvene. They talk about it, and they're like, well, I would have to, you know, sell his tools. I would have to put a hole in her wash tub, so they're not really gonna do it. And
Cue the
then they
gift of the Magi.
Yep.
and then they go yeah, exactly, then they go down Pa's slide, and it's again some great like just ragdolling puppetry going on
Oh my,
here.
the feet are amazing. The
Yeah.
legs, they don't touch the ice and they're great. It
Yeah,
makes my heart smile. It's so funny.
yeah, no, it's awesome. And it's
They
some
have a
great
ball
like
on
physical
set.
humor
It is
for
great.
what it is. Um
She
and
said
then they
after she slid down, Ma said, "That was good enough." And then it said, "Good enough for what? Good enough to do it again."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's
I
it's
just love
cheesy
Ma
and
and
like cute.
her little quotes like that.
Yeah,
Her
Ma's
little
full of like
sayings.
She's full of positivity.
quaint folkisms.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and it's very endearing. Like this whole film is just incredibly endearing. And we find out that Paul was an unsuccessful snake oil salesman, um, which
Because
there's the
there's
joke of
no.
snake oil, right? Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta
And
make
what
we
did
gotta
they say?
mention
And
that
it was cute.
he wasn't a shyster. That he was actually selling oil for snakes.
Yeah. The people just don't have
yeah,
any snakes to oil or
No,
something.
Pa kind of sounded like a con man to me.
yeah, I
Yeah,
kind
I
of
think
got
he was
that
the
as well.
innocent one.
I think
he
he was
He
a
was
bit of a
definitely a
con
shyster.
I
man.
think he was one of those, dads that was
He was
trying to
optimistic,
provide.
an
He was
optimistic con man.
He
A
sold
shyster with a heart of
everything.
gold.
Yeah, yeah.
He sold everything with good intentions. He's like the guy in the movies that's always trying to
He's
The
trying them get rich
get
quick.
rich quick.
the
Yeah.
well,
I
the
can't
means
even
justify the ends to
I
Pa.
can't even have my naive little view on Paul. Y'all just look at the Paul ain't leaving for cigarettes. He ain't coming back.
But Pa's dead.
Pa's dead. They mentioned that Pa's dead.
Yeah, well I know that, but
He probably got shot for a debt that he didn't pay.
Yeah, I think he fucked with.
But
He
what
went.
they-
He went into River Bottom and he didn't come back.
What they've learned though from Pa is that Pa would take a chance.
Yeah,
And
so
so they each take a chance on
Everything.
themselves.
everything.
Yeah,
Themselves.
yeah. And so what ends up happening is Emmett does decide to put a hole in the wash tub to make a wash tub base for a Jug-Band, and Ma does sell the tools that Emmett's been using for odd jobs for some nice dress fabric. And they tell themselves this is what Pa would have done, so like it's a good move to do. Neither of them know about this though. Oh, here we go. I do have the names here. And so Emmett, along with his friends, assembles the Frogtown Hollow Jubilee Jug Band, which consists of Emmett, Wendell, Harvey, and Charlie.
Herbie.
Um, so they practice. The jug band does, and Emmett's like, "No, we sound great. We're gonna win it for sure." And Emmett's like, "No, let's do it again. Like that, we sounded good, but like let's do it again so that we got it
His
tight and
friends seem
stuff."
like they do want to win, but like the stakes aren't high for them.
No, because they have all of their equipment. They didn't have to sacrifice, their only way of making
Well,
money in order to do it.
I know what Wendell's up to. Wendell's trying to swindle.
Oh, yeah.
Wendell. Look, Wendell couldn't swindle nothing if he even tried, man.
He's not fast.
He's like Cletus
I almost
He's
compared
not
to
fast
Wendell.
at all.
I like how I almost had Tiny Dancer on my side there for a second.
No. Wendell there's no swindling from Wendell.
And then Ma is using the spinning wheel to make her nice dress and stuff. And this is where we kind of get some comments from Hetty about like, "Oh, so you are going to enter it? Like you have a good voice. I think you could win." And then she's like, "Well, I gotta, I sold his tools for this fabric." And she's like, "Oh." Like she's
His tools that make money.
yeah, his tools that he uses for odd jobs so that we can survive. Yeah.
Yeah, you could use a
like
rock.
it's
She said
yeah.
something like, Ma was like, yeah, so, when I win this thing, she's like, well, what if you don't? Or you
Yeah,
might not.
yeah, yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
she should have said that. And it's like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, and she's like, "Well, no, I have to win." And so that's
I
both
have
of their
to win.
attitudes going into this is that, Emmett has to win,
I
Ma
mean,
has to
that's-
win.
That's a great
Um,
attitude to have, but you gotta have some realism going into the
I'm
competition.
they
I'm with
have
Hetty.
it.
I'm with Hetty though.
They definitely, I think she has
I'm
it
with
right.
her
I'm a
She
Ma.
gotta
Like
stay-
you definitely.
I'm
you
a Ma
definitely
and
should-
Emmett type.
Yeah, you are a mine Emmett type, and I'm a Hetty, and that's
I guess I'm kind of
It's
in
why we work.
between. Like you definitely should. Ma and Emmett should have came together and like talked about their plans before they executed their plans. That's all I'm trying to say. That would have been nice.
Well,
I guess what I'm saying is that, like,
Henry,
yeah, the gift of the
Magi.
magic
they-
because they
Yeah.
honestly don't
They
communicate.
Yeah.
both went behind each other's back to. It's
To
set
surprise
to-
each
Yeah,
other.
I
and
mean,
that's
yeah, they were
definitely
trying
the
to
trope
surprise-
of the story. Like that's how the story is structured.
Yeah. And so they
In all adaptations, nobody ever communicates.
But Emmett messes up her wash pan,
wash
the
tub.
wash tub, and she sells his tools. So it's like, yeah, if it's cool if you ask,
Yeah,
Right?
definitely. But they ask through notes, so that's like the thing, right? Is that Emmett will explain Ma's wash tub later, and Ma's note said, "I'll explain about your tools later."
I guess I
Uh,
So obviously
I guess
nobody
I have
read
to-
the notes.
You gotta ask
No.
and discuss. Ask and discuss. If you
Yeah,
want me to
but
get
it
so
doesn't
specific.
happen.
Communication wasn't great, but it was all well intended.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't happen. We go to the night of the big show, and Ma's incredibly nervous. So much so that she like runs into the mayor like physically, and then like tells him that he's incredibly nervous, even though like she's projecting and stuff. A pretty good comical puppetry here. And the Frogtown Hollow Jubilee Jug Band is practicing and stuff, and they find out that the second or maybe third act to go on is doing the song that they had been working
Yeah,
on.
this is the Yancey guy who's like Yancey woodchuck
Yeah.
or groundhog or something.
Yep. Yeah, you're right, Murda. It's a Yancey Woodchuck. Also voiced by Jerry Nelson, who is Emmett. But anyways, so they're like, well, we got to come up with something. So they go outside because they go on kind of late in the show, and they practice a new
They've
song.
got to learn a whole new song.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because the guy went on and played barbecue.
And
which
man,
barbecue,
he wasn't near as good.
No, and they
He-
nailed I mean, barbecue was so
He
good.
bombed.
He
He had a
really.
Yeah.
good time though.
But everybody
Yeah, no,
was
He had a
he
good
cheering
time,
on
but
him.
he bombed.
Everybody was
yeah.
happy about it. Everybody was like, "Yeah, that was good," and I was like, "The fuck, is everybody's smoking."
They weren't in. They weren't trying to boo anybody.
No, and they didn't
Yeah,
hear Emmet
nah.
Otter's Jug-Band's version.
No, they didn't, which is unfortunate. But some other acts happen, and then Ma goes on, and Ma sings excellent song. I don't remember the
Where
name
the
of it.
river? No, no,
No,
no,
not
no,
that.
no.
Nope,
Is
not
it
that one.
Our World?
Yeah, it's
Something
it's
like
Our World.
that.
And it is very touching.
Yeah.
It really highlights Erin Oscar's voice. Is that her? Erin? No, it's not.
It was something.
Sorry.
I'm not looking at it right now, but that.
Marilyn Sokol.
Yeah.
It really highlights her voice. Like, she's got a beautiful singing voice, because it's just her and a piano, and the crowd like gives a pretty deep, hearty cheer for her. Um, and then we get a few other performers. Jug Band goes on, and they sing a song called "Brothers."
Brothers, which was in 2019 maybe, or 2011. I don't remember. But My Morning Jacket did a cover of that song. Just for anybody who's interested in that.
That's awesome. I did not know that. That's great. I dig My Morning Jacket. They helped me through some hard times. A good band. Um, However, they play it. They do good. They get a pretty good cheer too, about the size of Ma's cheer. And then the River Bottom Gang shows up as a rock and roll band called the Nightmare,
Oh, and yeah, they've
and
definitely got some
they
like Deep
crush it.
Purple, Alice Cooper vibes.
Yeah.
They crush it.
It's excellent. There's a keyboardist with a cape. There's a star, like a
Chuck
guitar in
plays the
the
punk
style
plays
of a
that.
I
star.
mean,
Yeah,
this
Yeah,
is
there's some
Chuck
pumps
Stewart.
going on.
This is
You
completely
got a fish
the
dancer.
production that they have is completely unfair. It's not like none of the other performers had the
It's
level
that
of
drug
production
money,
that
you
they
know?
had.
It is
Yeah,
the drug
The
money.
drug money.
It's the
that-
drug money.
Yeah,
It'd
They
be
could
like if
afford a mic.
Aerosmith just showed up at a talent show.
yeah,
Yeah.
kinda.
Yeah, pretty much. And so they crush it. And they win. And so Ma and Emmett failed. And they sit outside moping that they failed and stuff. And Ma straight tells Emmett, like, I had to sell your tools in order to get the dress together for
I mean,
tonight. And
she didn't
he
have
tells
to,
her,
but she did.
and Emmett tells her, I had to destroy the wash tub in order to
But
make
he
this base
didn't
for the
have
Jug
to.
Band.
I don't
But
think
he
he said I
did.
had to. He said I did. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think either of them say they
No,
had to.
they know they
I
didn't
think
have to.
they
They're
just say,
like,
I
"No,
did
I
this."
At least they admit that they.
They
did
admit
it.
that they did
weren't
this.
like,
They pulled-
oh,
they
it
pulled-
was necessary.
They
because
pulled
it
a
wasn't
paw.
necessary.
They pulled a paw.
For Paul, they had to.
They're so
It was for
sad,
Pa.
but just like everything in Ma's like vision of the world, she turns it around. She realizes on their walk home that and she stopped outside the restaurant that the frog owns, but they're singing. She realized that they could do a mashup of Our World and Brothers, and it would be a banger. And so she's like, okay, I'm gonna start singing it, and I'll tell you guys when to come in. And they do, and they sound really, really good. And then, what's his name? The
Doc
Bullfrog.
Bullfrog.
Doc
Doc
Bullfrog comes
Bullfrog.
out. He hears
Boss
them.
Frog.
He hears them doing that awesome mashup of those two songs. It's like, you guys are really good. And I could see your, dedication and stuff in the talent show.
And just to interrupt real quick, it says here on the trivia, it says one of the first mashups on network television used in American culture.
Oh, fun. OG mashup.
OG
Okay.
mashup on TV.
Yeah.
So the Bullfrog is like, I'd love for you guys to, play at my restaurant. And Ma's quick to be like, "Oh, it's a paying gig."
Yeah,
right?
you're paying us.
He's like, "Of course." And so now they have a paid gig. So it turns around. They've got
And they get house meals.
they get the
They
house
got their
meals.
gerb.
They've got the steady income.
Got a steady job. They get food. Wendell gets his mashed potatoes.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like
Yep.
all he wanted.
Yeah, it is all that he wanted. And
The
we get one
swindler
final
strikes again.
we get
Just-
one final song with Ma and the boys, and that's When the River Meets the Sea, and it is a heart wavering song.
But this
Um,
time, like a mashup with their little
Yeah.
jazzy, like kazoo and stuff.
Yeah. Was that
Yeah.
the song she was saying that would be good? It might not have been Our World. It might have been.
No, it was. You're right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a great song, and that song, "Where the River Meets the Sea," was sung by John Denver a couple of years later, or maybe a year later or so, when he did the Muppet special, Christmas special with the Muppets with Kermit. And everyone.
John Denver and the Muppets: A Christmas Together.
Yeah,
This song, "When the River Meets the Sea," was also sung at Jim Henson's funeral.
yeah, I watched that.
Yeah, which that's. Oh man! If anyone wants
Devastating.
to,
Yeah.
everyone wants to just
You
like
wanna be
cry for like a
devastated.
while. Just
Yeah,
go
go
watch
watch
Jim
that Big
Henson's
Bird.
funeral because it's
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All of
Oh yeah.
it's rough. It's
What a great
Yeah.
person to get
And
something
then
like
to make
that.
yourself feel a little better, go listen to his children interviews about him. They'll
yeah.
They'll-
Yeah,
That he wasn't a good
they'll
father.
turn you around a little bit.
yeah they'll turn it around because
Yeah.
they have a completely different tune about the man.
Yeah.
But the
Uh,
son, I guess, carries on some of the work of him.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah, he
he
I mean,
did.
yeah, they
does.
still
And
carry
they
on
did
his
Muppet
legacy
Christmas
and
Carol.
everything. It's just
Yeah.
every time that I hear them in an interview and they have to talk about him, it
Yeah.
gets real
I mean,
serious. It
Dad,
gets
He
real
made
serious.
he made his work his life and not his children.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's sad, but in a semi-related note, Frank Herbert, the guy that wrote Dune, um, his son continued writing the Dune series, kind of similar to Jim Henson and his son, and you know, Frank Herbert's son says kind of the same thing of like, he was so just like singularly focused on this that like he never came to any of my ball games, like he didn't really hang out with
Daddy
me,
wasn't
he didn't
there.
yeah, he wasn't really like around, but like I understand like his meaning like within culture, so like I'm going to continue that legacy, which it sounds it's very similar with Henson and his children as well.
I hear the
Yeah,
same with like I think
if-
Miyazaki too.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
it's-
Miyazaki's terrible
I think
dad.
it's Jim Henson's daughter. She said it best. It's not a direct quote, but it's on the lines of everybody says they want Jim Henson to be their father, but trust I do like she did not want Jim Henson to. I had Jim.
He
Henson
was a
as my
better father to
Yeah.
everybody else
Yeah,
than his own
yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they sing that song and we zoom out. If it's the DVD, we get a little bit of Kermit, and we're done. It's
It's
very
only
short
48
film.
minutes. Yeah,
Yep,
only
48
It's
48
short
minutes
and
long.
sweet.
Well,
I like that.
Yep.
It's
Yeah, me
49
too.
minutes.
I don't lose.
It's 52 minutes with the Kermit scenes.
With Kermit,
Okay.
yeah.
That's another reason why I like it too. It holds my attention.
Mhm.
It's like not too long.
And I'll
I
just say
don't
for
see how they
scenes that
could've-
are
Go
oh go on. For a movie that like added scenes later, they blended it pretty well, and it doesn't like overstay its welcome. It doesn't like add too much,
Yeah.
Thought it was pretty inoffensive with the Kermit, because it could look so much more awkward or like seem much more out of place. But if you watch
Yeah.
this for the first time, you watch it for the first time, and no one told you that was added, you probably wouldn't know.
Nah,
Unless you're really like
Like
a
a-
huge Muppets
A
nut.
A Jim Henson specialist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Speaking
A
of,
Muppet
because I
head.
mean,
Yeah.
because I think that Kermit wasn't Jim Henson then, because that was 2001, right?
Yeah, no, it was
Yeah,
not
it
Jim
wouldn't have
Henson.
been him.
And I'll
But yeah, we
Speaking
can
of
hop.
like production and stuff.
Yeah, we can hop into that.
I was gonna say all I was gonna say is I don't feel that they could have made this movie any longer. I mean
No,
they
nor
hit all the
did they
No,
notes
need
it's
that
a
to.
very short story. I mean, there's not
It's
much.
Perfect
To,
length.
it's
what
based on
more
the
could they
kids'
have
book
done?
named the same thing. So
I guess they could have showed us a little bit of
Like
them,
the
like
next Christmas. The
Nah.
next Christmas where Emmett
maybe,
gets her a
Well,
piano
I think that
and
they
she, and
do.
she
or
gets a
maybe
guitar.
just Christmas, or just show because we didn't hit Christmas, did we? I don't feel like we did.
It was Christmas Day for the talent show. It was
Okay,
Christmas Day.
okay.
Hmm. And
Yeah, it should have showed them like a little later on, I guess.
but I like the
you
length
could
because
have.
it's perfect for like marathoning Christmas movies because it's like nice and short, and then you can get to the next one
Yeah.
on the list.
We had a little technical difficulty. We're fine.
But yeah,
yeah,
so, you had some production notes, I believe.
I've got some stuff. Yeah. So this was the first time like Jim Henson's crew and stuff really did a lot of this type of puppetry on the mass like level that they did. The special utilizes a number of different puppetry methods. The main puppets that are used are the usual Muppet hand puppets, but the characters are frequently represented as marionettes as well. It also utilizes black theater techniques. This is also one of the first Muppet productions to use radio control
I hate to
puppet
derail you, but would
effects.
they would they put the hand puppets over a marionette, or was that a completely separate puppet? Would you know that?
I think it's
I
I
think they
don't
were
know, but I think it's a
separate
separate
puppets.
puppet.
Okay.
Yeah, separate.
I do know. Okay, so to quote some of these, so Jim
they-
Henson, I'd like to read a couple of his quotes about the production and stuff because
Yeah,
I
go
think this
for
is
it.
pretty exciting. This is like they were to just to speak to volumes of how excited they were. Emmet Otter was the first time we had gotten into those kinds of elaborate sets where we had floors and interiors, and we would take a wide angle shot with characters coming up through holes in the floor. Or we cut into the set and remove the floor and have the characters moving through space in waist shots. That was the most elaborate production we had gotten into at that point. Frog Prince had been platformed up, and the Muppet Show was always platformed up. But Emmett Otter, we'd go right into a scene. We'd have the whole set in 3 dimensions, rigged so we could pop parts. Rigged so we could pop parts and come out through the openings, which is really time consuming.
And I want to add onto yours with this one. On the documentary about the making of the show on DVD, the singer Paul Williams says when Jim Henson asked him to write the songs for it, Henson explained that the show was going to be a trial run for a proposed Muppet movie to check out whether the Henson Company could handle certain technical tasks needed to produce a full-length feature film. So when the Muppet movie in 1979 came out 2 years later, Williams also wrote the songs for that one.
Cool.
So
That's
this was
awesome.
kind of a trial run to see if they could handle doing a
Yeah,
full-length movie.
can't have Muppet movie without Emmett Otter.
No, that's true.
Pretty much,
started
it's the
somewhere.
prototype.
That's really cool. And also, Dave, I got just one more, if I may.
Sure.
Dave Goles reflected on the special. I don't know who was Dave Goles. He did something. Who was
He's
he?
Wendell.
He was Wendell. I
I'm
guess
sure he's a
maybe he did
puppeteer in
yeah,
voices.
he's a puppeteer in voices. He said, Emmett Otter's Jug-Band Christmas remains one of my top 3 projects of all time. I love the feeling of that of the Emmett Otter world. We built a 55-foot long river that was about 10 feet wide. That's the river scene
huge.
for the actual water. I think
Yeah,
that's
it's
so
massive.
cool. Yeah, and went all the way across the stage. And they had built a radio control rowboat for Emmett, so that was radio controlled. It was so lovely and lyrical to see Emmett rowing his mom down the river. The idea that there was life along the river, and that it was all interconnected was a great metaphor for the people. I just thought that was a great little quote.
Yeah. And speaking of lyrical, many of the titles of the songs written for the special were suggested by the original book by Russell Hoban. The bathing suit that Grandma Otter wore and Downstream Where the River Meets the Sea were songs sung by Emmett and his ma. Ain't No Hole in the Wash Tub is suggested by words that Emmett sings with his jug band.
Cute.
So Russell Hoban like played a fairly large
Need to
role
get my
like in the
hands on
song
this book,
choice.
I know, that's what I was
even though I
thinking.
don't have children.
No, I would love to find a copy of that. I'm gonna look it up and see if we can find it. What's that going for on eBay?
But yeah, I mean that's kind of we got. I mean, there's a little bit more production. The scene where the drum rolls past Emmett and Ma Otter took over 200 takes to get right. So like
Wow.
That's a lot of
when
fucking
the
takes.
band is in the music store and that like drum goes by, it took them 200 times. Um, in 2020, Frank Oz wrote a tweet about how much fun he had and with Jerry Nelson doing the takes of it. And by fun, I'm sure it was probably torturous, but like, no, we have to get it right type of mentality. At least
Yeah,
that's the mentality I would have. Just like, let's do it again.
200
Hey,
takes.
do it again. All right, do it again. Um,
Everyone was kind of pissed that day.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
200 takes feels like I think that would make that's a 2 day thing. Like they didn't get it the first day and they came back and they had to keep going.
Take
No
100
way
more
they
takes.
did. No way they did 201 solid day, unless they did not like take a break and just work 24 hours straight.
While they were filming this, Frank Oz did the puppeteering and voice work for Ma Otter. Um, uh, Prior to production, Marilyn Sokol's voice was dubbed over Oz's.
I was about to say, like,
I
Frank
wanna
Oz is not hitting those notes.
No, he's
I
not.
wanted
No, he's
I
not.
want to hear the original audio though.
I
Like the
bet it's kind of
original Star
disturbing.
like the original Star
Yeah.
Wars audio. That stuff is funny.
Yeah.
Speaking
Yeah,
of, I
that
mean,
shit is
Frank
funny.
Oz, right? Yoda.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, totally. Um, but
What's the
yeah, I mean
seed it
that's
will?
if does anyone else have any other
Um,
production things?
I only have productions. I just had something on like it was really well reviewed when it came out, and I
Yeah.
mean still is, and
As
I,
it should be.
as it should be. And I just wanted to say on one of the reviews that was done the morning after the first broadcast by Bill Musselwhite, he noted that the special stood out as a bright gem amongst other seasonal programming that cluttered up the screen, kind of like we talked about why we love this movie so much, and compared the story to The Gift of Magi, which obviously, with an ending that results in something infinitely more precious. So, yeah, I just thought
Yeah, I super
that
agree with that.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a
definitely
good
agree.
sentiment. Because
This
yeah,
isn't
this is not your
unacceptable.
average Christmas film.
No.
If you're looking for like a mindless kind of, just
Jingle
whatever
all the
Christmas
way.
film.
We
Yeah,
watched that as well today.
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
This one stands out.
Yeah. I would put it in tier with another excellent stop motion Christmas slash Halloween film, The Nightmare Before Christmas. Like I would say they're of the same tier grouping.
I would also say that.
Yeah, I could see the comparison there with that type of Christmas movie that's not non-traditional kind of.
Yeah. Um, does anyone else have any other production stuff?
No, I
No,
think we could probably get into the final thoughts.
Yeah.
Let's start with Spooge because he's barely said shit this review.
Yes,
No.
Spooge.
Damn it, Spooge.
Well, excuse me.
Sex kills me.
I very much enjoyed it. It's very, I mean, especially for Jim Henson's early work and being kind of his first prototype of what he's gonna do for the Muppet movie. I think it's very, very innovative and just 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 beautiful to look at. A very cute movie, and I don't know, it's got that realism to it too. That's it's somber, but doesn't really bother me as much. It's definitely their attitude towards it's definitely nice and warming. I think movies nowadays kind of always kind of like lack the realism for kids.
Yeah,
I
that's
think they
kind
should
of what
be.
I was trying to get at.
I think sometimes they got to see. Sometimes they got to see poverty. Sometimes they got to see a, a dad fucking
Dad,
fall off a cliff and die. Yeah.
Lion King
That's what makes character.
Builds
um,
character.
yeah, builds character, so that way they're not all weak when they're forced into the hellscape of life. But yeah, this I mean, it's an adorable movie. I'd give it a 5 out of 5.
Yes, and that makes me happy that like you would give a Christmas media a 5 out of 5 because I know it's not your favorite.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the few Christmas movies that would be a 5 out of 5. And also I'd agree it's definitely same tier with that. So I like Nightmare Before Christmas a lot more, but that's just because I'm a little fucking edgy goth
Yeah,
piece of shit.
Yeah,
So
I mean
yeah.
that's a fully movie.
yeah,
Like,
I like the soundtrack better in that too. I
yeah.
mean, I
yeah,
do
it's
very much
dope.
enjoy the soundtrack, but I don't kind of listen to it a lot. Except I do have the River Bottom Nightmare Band on my main playlist.
Nice. It's a
That one
banger.
does
It's
get
a
listed a
banger.
lot. Yeah. So yeah, that's all.
All right.
My
Who
final
wants to go?
thoughts.
All
I
right.
mean, it pretty much mirrors all that. And you kind of said what I was trying to say. Like, it doesn't feel like pandering toward children where like nothing can ever be like wrong. Like we can't scare the children, so we can't like put real stakes into this movie. It's not like fantastical. It's very real. It's very real, but they're very positive, and even if they didn't get the job at the end, they were still on the train to like, come back from it and be positive. And they were feeling okay. Like they were disappointed, but they were feeling all right, and they weren't regretful of like the choices that they made. They were just like, well, that didn't work out. We tried, and we're gonna come back from this and do what we can. And then they ended up getting like a steady job that pays well, and they get those house meals, which when I was in probably the poorest time in my life, what the place I worked at the Chinese restaurant, man, I took every single house meal that I could get. um,
You got to.
you got to, man. And this seemed like in the end, though I agreed with Hetty, I wouldn't have followed Paul's advice, but it worked out for them in the end. They got that job, which is basically what they needed. This whole movie was steady work. That's the goal of this movie, which is kind of sad, but again, it's pretty real, especially for the time and the location that they were in. But I love the music. I love how like tight this movie is. That like under an hour we're done. I love that we're not crammed, like it's not shoved down our throat with Christmas cheer. Even though I'm a very Christmassy person, like I don't need that in my movies. Um, 5 out of 5. I definitely recommend this as a Christmas watch.
Yeah, and I'll hop off of there. This I first saw this film the first summer or the first winter that
With
that I spent with Murda, and it impacted me deeply. It did bring me to the verge of tears at times, because I also come from the depths of poverty, and to see that, like, oh, they got a paying regular gig, like making the music that like they so often just like sing as they're doing their work and stuff, that like really
Yeah, they get to
touched
do
me,
what they love.
especially as someone who makes music. So like it was very heavy, but like a very good feeling. And it is an every year watch for me. This is a solid 5 for me. It gets everything across that it needs to. It doesn't it never tries to sugarcoat anything. There's no punches pulled, but the punches aren't hitting you in the face or making you feel bad. It's more just like, here's like how life is. And I think to be able to display that with puppets in a Christmas film in under an hour is just speaks to the brilliance of Jim Henson and the entire Henson team.
And all the creatures are so cute.
They're so cute.
Yeah, there's a couple of shots where Emmett is like looking at an upward angle, and it's just
Too
his like
much.
full little black eyes with
So
his little
cute.
puff cheeks, and I cannot deal with it. Like, it makes me clench my jaw with how cute it is.
So cute.
What did you rate it? Did you give it a rate?
5
It's a
out of
5.
5.
I'll go after, if you're done. I'll roll into mine.
Yeah, that's it.
Which pretty much mirrors everything everyone has said. But this is just such a wholesome, great movie, and I love that it's one of their, Jim Henson's productions first, like this type of length production that they've made, and I just love their excitement for it and the things that they did. Like I said, that some of these methods they used were the first time they'd ever used them, and just I don't think we would have. Well, obviously we wouldn't have the Muppet movie, Muppet Christmas Carol, all the Muppets that we love without Emmet Otter, and it just, like Starfish said, it does so well to tell a full story, just totally effortless almost, and within under an hour. It's awesome. It's beautiful. It's so heartwarming. I just say all the great things. I love it so much, and it always will be a staple for us. 5 out of 5. Yeah. And now I gotta watch the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Or we gotta
Alright,
watch it.
so
Fuck yeah.
that means I'm the only one left on the chopping block. What will I say? Oh, is anybody nervous? Is anybody nervous?
Jeff
I know
Goldblum
that if
again
you
for the
give
second
me a
time.
Jeff Goldblum, I'm throwing my phone.
They're readying the pitchforks and torches. Get your
So-
torches here.
So how,
You don't
so
have
let
to
me
rate
just-
it a perfect. You don't
let
have
me
to rate
just-
it a perfect, but if you go near like a Goldblum or a 1, I don't even know what to say.
I don't trust you as a person.
So, just to confirm, everybody else is at a 5 out of 5, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Smokey is gonna propose God tier.
Yeah!
Yeah, God tier.
It's a Christmas miracle.
A Christmas God tier. Woo!
So yeah, before I do the cutaway, yes, 5 out of 5. It is
You weren't expecting it, were you?
I mean, it's
You weren't expecting
pretty-
what you were given.
it's hard to say. I was coming into this expecting a Christmas movie. I wasn't expecting it to be, the pretty much the perfect Christmas movie that it is. I was expecting more lighthearted. I was gonna, we're gonna have, country bumpkin Otter running around with his Jug-Band, getting into, mischievous adventures, during Christmas time. Oh, that's what I came into, and that's not what I got at all. That's not
You
what I
learned
got.
some real lessons.
That would have been a fun movie too, but it wouldn't have had the weight that this movie had.
Yeah, it just there is some the atmosphere of this movie is definitely like it's not a Charlie Brown Christmas, but it's definitely
close.
different. It's close, but it's definitely a more it's more somber. I can definitely say that Charlie Brown is a little more lighthearted than this. It's a sovereign Christmas experience that I just haven't gotten with a movie. Like, I just never.
I don't know that it is more like. I mean, I think it's. That's such a sad song. Sad little children singing it. Anyway, but it is very much on that level.
I feel that they weren't trying in Charlie Brown. They definitely don't. They're not. It's more middle class in Charlie Brown than it is in this.
Yeah, definitely. It's
They're not like
they're not
$2 $2 away from dying.
Yeah, so it's just like very unique. I don't know. I'm sure there probably is a Christmas movie that gets as somber as this, if not just probably ends on just like a sour note. But I haven't seen that yet, and it just it's great. I do, even though I say it's perfect, if you're gonna show this to your kids, don't expect them to not jive with it, because it fucks with their feelings too much. I definitely can see little, if I was shown this as a kid, especially like a 5 or 6 year old, it, like E.T. I've only watched E.T. one time in my life, and it made me cry, and that's why.
I could also see
It
it
made me
for a
scared.
certain age of kid. I could see it being kind of boring too.
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah, definitely. There's not a lot
There's not a lot
going
of
on.
there's not a lot of shenanigans.
I was
Yeah, it's a lot of
definitely
talking.
as a child, I was like very much in the Muppets and stop
Same, I
motion and
was.
stuff.
Yeah,
so
I would have
I-
loved
definitely
this.
would've been
Yeah,
like,
that's what
but-
I'm thinking. Kids would be into the puppets, even if
Yeah.
they weren't really doing nothing. The
I would have
puppets
been.
were. But maybe not modern kids with their, attention span. Got to be 15 seconds. But I'm not gonna get
With
into
the-
that.
With the Good Burger 2s.
The TikTok, yes. But yeah, I mean, definitely a god tier. Gotta do the Jim Carrey thing on the edit,
Than a god am. Was that over the top? I can never tell.
It'll
wow,
be
I'm
there.
so glad.
Yay,
I'm so
Christmas.
Yeah. Merry
Christmas got here, Christmas got here, Christmas got here.
Christmas
But yeah,
got here.
if I think that's it. I think we've done it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep, we done did it.
We
Merry
done
Christmas,
did it.
everyone.
I have an
If
outro.
you-
The first time in forever.
Oh.
You jump in the gun. Tiny
Oh, I'm
dancing,
sorry.
you jump in the gun.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I never had
you
one
jumped
I
before.
know we're
Gun.
She got excited.
Yeah, excited.
I know we're live, but I still have to do the outro properly. If you have been listening to us this long, thank you so much. Please leave a like, comment what you think about this movie, and share this video around.
And man,
Definitely-
go watch this movie, especially if you have Prime. It's free on Prime.
Yeah, watch
I-
it.
Not-
It's
not-
great.
on Prime last year. The year
I'm
before.
not scared
So
to
that's
say
nice.
this. It's on Internet Archives if you can't get Prime. So just go to Internet
There you
Archives.
go. That too. You don't have to
And
support
the
Prime.
real,
Just if you already have
you
it.
know what? I'm gonna say the real version is on fucking Internet Archives. It ain't got that Kermit motherfucker in that shit.
Can't be hating on Kermit.
But yeah, please share the video around. I said that. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and turn on notifications. It really helps. And this is the part where I go, hey, does everybody got to sign off?
You know I do.
Go for it.
Do it.
I want to leave everyone with Ma's excellent words and try to go into your new year with this. A person's got to take some chances, or life will never come to nothing.
Yep. I was gonna say that one, but that's not the one I was really gonna say. Mine's coming from the barbecue song lyrics, which is some good shit. When you meet somebody that don't like soul food, they still got a soul. And it don't mean that you got no rhythm if you don't like rock and roll.
Profound.
It's very profound.
Oh,
But if your tastes are like mine, you like this. You like cedar, not wine.
Cider, not
No,
wine.
cider, not wine. Sorry. And your very favorite thing to do is to get a pretty girl dancing to a Jug-Band music. And that's
A
a
mess of
mama's
mama
barbecue, barbecue.
Okay, I slaughtered
It's
that.
my
but
spirit.
They got cut off
Barbecue.
all weird.
Murder, Spooge, do y'all?
I don't know what I always have one, but just go watch this movie because I feel like it's so underrated. So that's my sign off.
Yeah.
Go watch it and share this movie to your friends and make them happy,
the best
sad.
Christmas movie ever.
And I highly recommend the from the YouTube channel Defunct Land, their documentary series on Jim Henson throughout like his whole career. It's a pretty good series.
All right, and mine's gonna be Hold Fast and Brave the Storm. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Merry Xmas.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas,
Ho,
or whatever you
ho,
celebrate.
Holy shit.
Happy solstice,
Yay, solstice.
winter solstice.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
See you next
For the
time.
rest of us.
To all a good night.
Yay, Festivus.
All
Hail
right, we should not
Hail
be
Satan.
streaming. We should not
Hail
be streaming.
Satan.
We should not be
Hail
streaming anymore.
Satan!
Hail
we are-
Satan.
We are
Hail
recording.
Satan!
I'm
Right,
leaving
we
that.
did it.
My ear hurts. Night.
You did it.
Shut up.